Alrighty, hello everyone, it's Silver Kyle here, and today I'd like to go over my impressions of the first 20 hours to Pokémon Y. Now, before I get into this, I think I should just briefly explain my experience with the Pokémon series. So I started off Pokémon with the first generation, Pokémon Blue. And I was there right at the beginning. So it's something completely different to talk about Pokémon when video games in the 90s weren't that big. Video games now are in pop culture. They're huge. Everybody knows about video games. But back then, not a lot of people talked about them because you were labeled a geek or a nerd or whatever. But Pokemon completely changed that. If you were a teenager or younger, you knew about Pokemon and you were talking about it right before it came out. The amount of hype that was going for these games were huge. It was just insane. And my brother and I both got into it. And we were so into it, we were like, oh my goodness, we need to play these games. We were hearing so much about it. This is the first time we really see a lot of hype for a game. And we had to have these games. So we went out, we bought Pokemon Blue and Red. He got Red, I got Blue. We came home and we played all the way until we went to bed. Next day, rinse and repeat. Same thing for pretty much the entire month. First month or two for that game. I played and beat Pokemon Blue probably like 3 or 4 times during the first year that I have. I love that game. It was just so good. It was so different and unique for its time because it was, a bunch of monsters that you catch that work together in a team to face other monsters. It was just so interesting at the time, and a lot of other series have kind of, it's not the first of its kind to do that, and other series have definitely tried to imitate but never duplicated and never perfected that kind of game with Pokemon. It's just one of a kind. So I love Pokemon Blue. Afterwards, I did pick up the second generation, Pokemon Silver. My brother picked up Gold. I liked that series as well. I thought that it was a proper sequel at the time. It felt like a proper sequel. But afterwards, I just never picked up any of the other Pokemon games for the third generation. So I didn't pick up the remakes either of Pokemon Leaf Green and Flame Red, I believe. Fire Red, I can't remember what it is. I didn't pick up those up, but I did start off again with the fourth generation, Pokemon Diamond. But the game didn't grip me as much. I didn't beat it, and it was surprising to me because I beat Pokemon Blue numerous times. I think I beat Silver at least once, maybe twice. But the Diamond just didn't do it for me because I was distracted with other games at the time. And then I did pick up Pokemon Soul Silver because it was a remake of Silver, which I did enjoy. I recently got in like halfway through the game, but just it wasn't holding my attention. Other games once again came into the forefront. But now with the completely skipped 5th generation, but 6th generation Pokemon Y is getting me right back into the series. This was so good. Like, if you've never played a Pokemon game, this is a perfect entry to start in. And if you're like me and you haven't played a lot of Pokemon series, it's a perfect game to get you right back into the series. And if you've played every other Pokemon game, once again, you're still going to enjoy this because this is the biggest changes that we've seen in any of the Pokemon games. The biggest thing, obviously, is that it is a 3D environment. We are no longer in the straight top-down view. There is still top-down, but it's different. There's more depth. This is the most depth that we've ever had in Pokemon games, and there are times when it does actually change the camera angle and it is a full 3D environment, but that's more so for like the scenery. So when you change landscape, when you go to like when you're entering a town or a city, or you're approaching a mansion, it'll change that, and that really adds to the more epic feel to the game, but it's not a full 3D environment the entire time. The Pokemon battles are, but not when you're walking around. But it's still the most in-depth that we've ever seen for Pokemon games. Now, the other biggest positives for this game is that the game is more streamlined and it's straightforward, and it's, if you've played Pokemon games before, you can just beeline and just do whatever you want because it doesn't hold your hand. Because I always felt that the Pokemon games took their time at the beginning. It took you a while before you caught a full party of 6 Pokemon that weren't all the same Pokemon, like a bunch of Caterpies or a bunch of Zubats. You had an entire unique team right at the beginning, and you had your first badge within the first 90 minutes of the game. You had your starter, you caught 5 Pokemon after that, you had your full team, you went in, you got your first badge first 90 minutes. It's that fast. And the game progresses that much faster because they have something called experience share. So when you get into a battle and experience share is on, anybody that is in your party, even if they don't show up in battle, will get 50% experience. That is huge. Your party members will all generally stay about the same level, even if you don't use them. And what's cool about that is that if you pick up a new Pokemon, you're like, oh, I really want that Pokemon to join my party, or I have this Pokemon, I'm going into this battle where the gym leader is all water Pokemon, so I want to use an electric type Pokemon, but I don't have any that are built up. Well, you can get a level 5 Pikachu. Build him up, not even by using him. Just go battle, like you could be like level 50. All your party members are level 50, and you can have this level 5 Pikachu. You can battle a few battles, and he will slowly start catching up really fast. The first few levels there, you can gain like 6 levels easily in just one battle without even using that Pokemon. It's great because for one, the grinding in Pokemon was fun. It was a positives, but it was also a negative as well, because it would be fun to build up your team and work on one Pokemon just at one point. But then later on in the game, when you have to constantly do it, it becomes too tedious and long. This just completely changes that. And the cool thing is that if you did like that part about Pokemon, you did like the grind and building up just one party member at a time, one Pokemon at a time, you can turn off the experience share and do it like that. So that is cool to have different options in this game. Another part of this game is that one of the cool things about it is I'm about 20 hours in, give or take, and so is my girlfriend. And we are in completely different areas of the game. I'm kind of beelining for the end of the game, and I'll explain why I'm doing that in just a bit. I'm kind of just going right to the end. I'm just trying to get to the end of the game. I'm at 7 badges, and I just completed the main mission, I guess, that had to do with Team Flare. And she's at 4 badges because she's taking her time. She's catching every Pokemon that she sees. She's talking to everyone, and she's just really getting a different kind of experience than I am. And that's cool because it just that's how big the game is, that you can have completely different experiences in 2 different places depending on how you play the game. Now, the reason why I'm beelining it for the end of the game is because I want to beat this game and have a second playthrough where I take my time and catch as many Pokemon as I can, because the few negatives about this game is I don't particularly like any of the starters. And I didn't look at what the final evolutions were. And I should have, because I selected Froakie. My girlfriend went with Finnegan. And so neither of us took Chespin. And I wish that I would have taken Chespin, because Froakie's final evolve form is kind of meh. It doesn't really do anything for me. Finnegan's is kind of worse. I'm happy I at least have Froakie, and whatever his last evolved form is. I never know their names. I'm bad with names for Pokemon. Other than like the original 151 and like starters from other Pokemon, I'm bad with names. But Chespin's probably looks the best. Still not the greatest. And starters are supposed to be like the best things. I love them when they're first starting out. Like Finnegan, Chespin, and Froakie look adorable there. That is an awesome team. If they stayed like that the entire time, if I would have pressed the B button, things could be different. But I didn't, because I wanted to see what they would look like. And because I went with Froakie, because I normally go with water type Pokemon when I first start out, I missed out on getting my favorite Pokemon later on in the game, because later you do get an option to get one of the original first starter Pokemon from the first generation. So you either get Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle. So that's a little bit of a spoiler. Sorry about that. But that's a positive, right? And that you get these Pokemon. But because I already had a water Pokemon, I decided to go with Bulbasaur. Not a huge thing, because I do like Bulbasaur. Venusaur is kind of not as much as I like him. I still would have preferred him over any of the final evolutions of the first starters that you get in this game. But I would have preferred to have Squirtle, because Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise are my favorite Pokemon ever. Those are my favorites. Squirtle's my top one, but Blastoise is close, and I do love Wartortle as well. And so that's why thankfully I do have Snorlax in my team, though, so at least one of my favorite Pokemon is in my team, and he's making up a lot of it. But I do want to just beat the game as fast as I can and restart it. If my attention span's still there for this game, and I don't get sidetracked with other games like or a PS4, for example, I would like to do a second playthrough where I pick Chespin as my starter Pokemon and eventually get Squirtle, my favorite Pokemon of all time, and play through the game that way, and take my time to catch more Pokemon and just experience it in a different way that my girlfriend is experiencing it at the moment. So that's the only negative that I have. Not really a big thing, and it's more so my fault than anything. So that is pretty much my first impressions of the game so far. I'm loving it, other than the fact that I have not the greatest Pokemon, but I'm going to be changing that up. And the coolest thing is that this game, I'm loving it so much that it is making me want to go back and play previous installations of the games that I have not played, and also relive the originals that I have played. Because when I beat this game, my girlfriend and I are planning at the beginning of next year, 2014, to get Pokemon Blue and Red and play through those games, and then, you know, as long as we're still interested in the Pokemon series, keep going throughout the entire generation. So that will be quite interesting. I'll let you all know how that's going. So anyway, thank you very much for paying attention to this video, and let me know in the comments below if you've picked up Pokemon and what you are experiencing, if you're liking the game, if you've beat the game so far, just basically anything Pokemon related. So thank you all for watching. You've been Bearded in Beardage.